You are listening to Co-Create Your Life. In this podcast, we delve deep into the law of attraction, dispel common misconceptions, and give our listeners the tools they need to build a magical, purposeful existence in their everyday lives. Reclaim the creative power you already possess and join us at cocreationcoaching.org/create. That's cocreationcoaching.org/create.
Welcome to Co-Create Your Life. This is episode 21, Never Settle for Less Than Your Deepest Desire. I am Brandon Oliveris.
And I'm Christine Oliveris.
And I'm Justin Williams.
And today we have a topic I think will be very interesting, I hope, all about why you should go for the biggest, dream that you can, for the biggest goal that you can, and not settle for anything less, because that's something I see very commonly. So, before all that, I have some announcements. If you would like to see the show notes for this podcast, or read the transcript, or leave a comment, you can go to cocreationcoaching.org/create021. Or if you would like to ask your own question to be answered on this podcast, actually now we're answering questions mostly for readers' questions, but we might cover a topic if you come up with a good one. But either way, you can go to cocreationcoaching.org/ask, and that will let you ask a question. And it will be covered somewhere. But we just started a new series, Readers' Questions. I don't know if you saw it, Justin. I put together a video about 10 minutes long answering Readers' Questions. I'm going to do it every Monday now.
No, I didn't see that. I missed some stuff, man.
Yeah, well, I just got sent out this morning, so if you might be able to look at it.
Oh, okay. I think I did see that this morning.
Yeah, it was called something like, When Should I Take Action?
That's it. I saw that.
Yeah. So you should take a look at that. Anyway, so today we're talking about your deepest desires. And I'm specifically talking about your deepest desires, not just any goal, not just any next level goal, but we're really talking about the big stuff, the ultimate level goals, your deepest desires. And, this is a topic I have written down for a few weeks now that I've been wanting to cover, and I was thinking about what topic to cover today, and then I just had a session with a client right before we went to record this podcast, and it clinched it because we talked about exactly this topic, pretty much, or ended up in that place anyway. So, again, the question is, why is it you should not settle for anything less? Because what I see a lot of times happening is that people will settle for something less. They will, accept anything that comes along because they're so desperate to get what they want that they'll get the first thing that comes. And this happens a lot with, let's say, a job. Let's say you're looking for a job. And you have a clear picture of what you want. You have the salary you want, the location you want, the hours you want, the work environment you want, the benefits you want. And then you get a job that matches, say, 75% of those things. And you say, that's good. I got something. And you take it. And then you regret it because it wasn't the right choice. It wasn't your soul's highest desire. It wasn't what you really wanted to do. And then you're like, why did I take this? And you're trying to find something better. And it just causes a lot of pain. I actually had something very similar happen. I wouldn't say it had to do with the deepest desire, but I'll give some other examples later. But I don't know if I mentioned this on the site too much. When I first got hired for the job I'm working at, I was desperate to get it because I really wanted to get off of SSI. And I accepted the first salary that came. They literally they asked me, what number do you want? What salary do you want? I said, well,
I trust you.
I trust you. Never say that, by the way. I saw that. I looked up, what if someone asked you this question?
Never say that.
Never say that. And someone said, well, it'll show them that you trust them, and so tell them you trust them. And I tried it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. And I was very insecure because I was coming from a place I didn't really have a full-time job or anything in this field, and So I jumped at whatever came. And then within 2 months, I'm just unsatisfied. And I'm saying to myself, I'm worth so much more than what I got. And it was not good. And it was causing me to kind of, I don't know about sabotage, but I just wasn't happy. And I knew I couldn't continue. Luckily, I manifested changing that situation. And I ended up getting my salary increased by 32%. That was interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was really interesting. So that was cool, but just don't do it in the first place, because when you do that, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
Yeah, the I trust you thing is interesting to do. I wouldn't do it. So yeah, you got to see
don't say
that.
I trust you. Yeah. It doesn't work.
It's different if you know the person that's hiring you. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, don't do that. I got something way lower than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, it'll go up eventually. And then once you work, 40 hours a week for that long doing a very hard job, it's like, this is not really what I imagined.
And it's a lot of work. He's got more gray hair now working at this job.
Yes, Christine would know. It's a lot of work. So, and then, the same thing sort of, that, now I'm working towards, and this is actually a more positive case, now I'm working towards what my deepest desire really is. When I first got the job, and everyone who follows my blog knows this, I went through a lot of confusion. And Justin, this more than most people, because I told you I was very honest, and Christine obviously knows everything about it.
Yeah.
I think I know more than Justin does. Well, I'm just kidding.
I should hope so.
Funny enough, though, I've seen it with people with visual disabilities and other disabilities in the field. They literally did the same thing you did, so I kind of knew you were going to do it.
What's that?
Just sort of have the angst before you got there. It's sort of natural. Yeah. It's natural for us,
Sure, because it's, what are they going to do? How are they going to react?
Yeah, so it's sort of natural.
Right. So anyway, when I first got the job, I wasn't sure where my life was headed. It really changed my perspective, my outlook. Like, what am I doing with co-creation coaching? I didn't post for weeks at a time in like May and June because I just wasn't sure, where things were going and what I really wanted to do with my life. But I think that can happen sometimes. But once I really got into the job and once I really started thinking about things, and I got some space from co-creation coaching, and I really started to see, what? This is what I want to do long term as far as co-creation coaching. The programming thing is great. It's very, it's enjoyable. It's very mentally stimulating, but it's not that deepest desire. It's not that. It's great. It's a wonderful thing, but it's not the deepest desire. It's not my soul's passion. And I got, the great thing about it, I think it was meant to be this way though, because it gave me the money I needed to pay for this business coach that I got that is amazing. And so she's been helping me to take co-creation coaching to the next level. And so you're going to see tons of changes with the website. But, so that works out. But I accepted this is my deepest desire. This is what I really want to do. And I embraced that. And I said, this is what I'm going to work towards. And it was funny because she did this session with me where we went through, I don't know if I told you this, Justin, where we went through my core essences. And there was 3 of them. And one of mine was purpose. And it was my lens that I see the world through. And she said, you need purpose in order to live. And that was so true. And that made me realize, okay, this job is great, but I don't get purpose. That's the thing that's lacking. But co-creation coaching, I get purpose. So that was my deepest desire, though. That is my deepest desire, and that's what I'm going to go after. So that, I see this all the time with people and I've done it myself, where you get part of what you want and you give up because it's like, it's good enough. What if I don't get more? What if the rest of it doesn't come, you know? And I think this will tie in well to what you mentioned, Justin, what you wanted to cover today about, you know, you get part of it and you stop there.
Right.
And, you know, what do you do with that? Because that's very common, because especially when you're working with an ultimate level goal, your deepest desire, you know, a soul level passion, it's not just going to come all at once most times. Because it's just, there's so much that has to be done subconsciously to allow that to grow within you that, you know, it's just not going to all happen at once. So a lot of times something might come along where you see part of it. Either you see an opportunity where you can get part of it, but not all, or you actually really do get part of it, but not all. What do you do?
Well, when you get part of it, you have to decide, okay, you know, is this good enough? Now, if you really got your deep soul level desire and you know what it is, when you get part of it, you're going to say no.
No.
And what you want to do is use that and tell the universe, yes, this is part of it. This feels good, but I want you to help me keep going because we haven't reached our goal yet.
Right.
So you're going to use that as a stepping stone. Don't worry about, I wasn't working at that job, or I wasn't at that group, or I wasn't doing this for too long. Just keep doing it and then go to the next step until you get your actual desire. Don't stop there and say, oh, that's good enough. No, that's not good enough, because your goal was X. You only got to, you know, you got 2/3 of the way there. Let's say you got halfway there.
Right.
Then
right.
no, it's not good enough. You're only halfway to X. You know, I don't know. I mean, you say you want to make, give me a title. You want to make $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
You got a job making $58,000 a year.
Sure.
And then on the side, you're doing your business and you're making about $15,000 a year with that. That's not $100,000 a year. So you then need to go and figure out how you're going to make $100,000. You might stay there for a year, maybe, or 6 months to a year to get. But your goal to make $100,000 a year does not stop if that's what you really want, unless you get a spot, a position, or you get into a place where you look and say, wait a minute, my core desires are actually met. So if your core self is met, if you look at a job and you realize, wait a minute, some of the stuff that I really wanted, I don't need. Some of the stuff I thought I wanted, and now that I see it and I'm working, or I'm in a relationship, or I'm dating this woman or this man, and suddenly I realize, wait, okay, she really does do what I need. Then I'm not, or the job does do what I need. Then I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to hang there and then enjoy that, and maybe I'll do something sometime down the road. But if that's not really doing it for you, you need to keep moving forward for that. Don't get scared. Just keep going forward for it.
Right, because sometimes we don't know what it is we want till we have it. It's like, oh, that's what I wanted all along.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was younger, I thought I wanted to be like a professional psychic. That was my thing. I wanted to do professional readings, like, you know, kind of like Aaron Pavlina.
So you kick butt at those.
Yeah, I'm good at doing readings, but that's what I thought. I'm going to be a psychic. I'm going to be a professional psychic, and you know, give readings and live on that. And you know, that's not how things went. So I mean, I tried somewhat to do. I started different projects, and I, you know, started different spiritual websites and whatnot. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do, you know, spiritual teachings, like non-duality based spiritual teaching, you know.
Yuck. Sorry.
And that's Christine's favorite, by the way. And you know, maybe I'll do that. And then I tried that, and not doing it. And then I stumbled across, you know, NLP, which I got my certification in, and almost did hypnotherapy, but like started to do it, like, that's not the thing. And then just through doing NLP, I stumbled on the law of attraction and realized the power that we have, and realized how many people miss out on that, and realized it took me about a year of really tinkering with it, but realized that I could figure it out and teach other people how it really worked. So that hit the spot. That was like, yes, that's the thing. That's the thing I want to do. And, sometimes you don't know what it is. I could have thought, I want to be a psychic. And I could have had that handed to me on a silver platter. And then I probably would have realized, not so much, because like even right now, I don't remember if I took them down yet, but I'm planning on it. But I had readings available, and and you'd think, well, that's what I wanted to do when I was younger, right? I wanted to do readings and be a professional psychic. But I realized that wasn't where my passion was for me, and I need to focus more anyway on what I really want to do. So I'm going to take down those readings, even though, yes, like Christine said, I'm good at it, but that's not the core deepest desire. And because I think the reason was I realized as doing readings, I'm telling people what's going to happen rather than helping them get what they want to happen. And that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say in a coaching session you can't warn them, hey, intuitively I'm feeling like you're headed down this path, and so you might want to change that.
And I kind of think coaching, too, is like using your intuition in a more mature way.
Yeah.
Then here's what's... I mean, I'm not saying that readings aren't mature.
No, yeah.
But it's using your intuition in a way that is saying, okay, here's what you can do. Here's what I'd suggest that you do, but, it's your choice.
And as a psychic doing readings, I would get just questions I really didn't care about, that it really didn't...
Tell me about my love life. I don't want to.
Didn't matter to me.
It is annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, it's fun. I'll just practice the skills anyways. I'll tell you whatever you want, but and then somebody once said, "No, if I can't have it, no one else will. No one else can." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's a little.
We're done. I'm into this in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, and then I feel bad giving bad news. Like, I just don't feel it's there, it's, but I need this to happen,
But I still ask Brandon for intuitive things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's fine, but doing actual readings, I don't know.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, you can do whatever, but sometimes you don't know what that is until you stumble upon it. Like, oh, I thought I liked this one thing, and then it turns out not so much, And that's valuable information, but like you were saying, Justin, when you come across part of what you want, you have the option of how you want to proceed from there. And, in some cases, if you get a job that matches, say 7 out of 10 points, but it's just not that full thing, but you're just doing it because, well, what if I don't get something better? Run the other way as quickly as possible. Don't do it.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't settle.
Don't settle, no.
If you do it, you need to understand you're doing it to advance. So what Brandon did was he took this job and he's using it to fund his business. That's a constructive way to take something that is not the full thing and then use it to get the full thing. That's what I'm looking to do with my next jobs is something like that.
But always keep that final goal in mind. And that's the thing. And that's what I talked to my last client about was, okay, do the transitional thing if you have to. But don't give up the dream. Because if that's your soul's deepest passion, if that's what you really want to do, your deepest desire, you have to keep that dream going. Don't lose the vision. Because some people will, I'll take this job until I make it in this other, my side business. And then they just get so, I don't want to say lazy, but so caught up in the day-to-day grind of the job and being tired when they come home. And that's how I was for the first 2 months of my job. I just didn't have energy to do co-creation coaching.
No, and that's what you can't do is get that actually is to be the first 2 to 3 months of a full job. Okay, fine. But afterwards, I say 3 months. Yeah. 3 months into your full-time job. Not that you're going to have it all down yet, but you have got to have the ability to continue with that side business
To your passion.
To your actual passion. Now, you might have to take a break to get your body acclimated
Right.
to it.
That's what happened to me.
Then you have to decide, you have to step up and do it, because if you're just taking a job to get the side business going,
Right.
then that's the purpose of the job. The purpose of the job is not your be all end all. So if you take, I know we're focusing on jobs a lot, but convert this to something else. This is an easy thing to focus on. Take the job and actually use it to fund your side business.
Mm-hmm.
That's its purpose.
Sure, definitely.
Other than that, you've got a dead job.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, don't lose the vision of what you want, because that is what keeps you going. That is what, your soul feeds on. Your soul needs a dream, needs something to keep it alive. And if it doesn't get that, then you're dead. And I've said this before. I always saw, growing up, my mother as an example of what kind of life I did not want to lead.
Yeah.
Because she had the day-to-day job. She was in sales for a lot of her life, since I was born anyway. And she did that and nothing else. And came home at the end of the day and watched TV, ate dinner, whatever, watched TV the rest of the night, went to bed, got up in the morning, did it all over again, day after day after day after day after day. And I said, I will never lead that life. Never. Because it doesn't do anything. I just can't fathom. And I know someone in Christine's family, who has told me, how she gave up her dream to do what she's doing now, and she regrets that. She wishes she could go back and do it all over. And that, to me, is so sad, because I couldn't do it.
Nope.
I've tried to deny my dreams, and it kills me. I can't. I'm not strong enough for that, I guess. I don't know, but why should I be? Why should you try to do that? I used to try to do the thing, like, Christine's family would nag at me, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to, go back to school, or, whatever. And I tried doing I talked about the internship before, and it lasted like 2 weeks, and this is not worth it. You know what? It's not worth it. And I quit that. It just wasn't going to happen. So don't give up the dream when you're doing that. It just won't work. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is, I think people feel selfish.
Yes, that's a big one.
The one thing I told my client just before this was, let yourself want the whole kit and caboodle. The whole thing, the whole 9 yards. You want this, and the money to go along with it. And, the freedom, and this other thing, and this other thing. Let yourself want the whole thing.
And the other thing, people are afraid that if I get this, I'll get judged by all these other people.
Right.
Man, don't worry about that.
Right.
Those other people aren't giving you anything.
Exactly. But let yourself want the whole thing. Let yourself want to achieve all of it, not just some of it. And I think we had a great conversation about this, and I agree about it totally. That as spiritual people, this whole thing about light workers and whatnot, that we tend to have this guilt complex about, well, I have to serve the world and help others, and that, and not worry about my own desires.
No, you can't. No, you don't do that.
And I'll tell you what I told this person at the end of our session. I said that if it is something that awakens your soul, that really makes your soul sing, then it is your purpose. Mm-hmm. It is what you're meant to do in life. It is what you're meant to go after. And no one can tell you otherwise. Because otherwise life isn't worth living. What's the point of life if that soul passion can't happen. It can happen if you, and I'm not saying it'll be easy, but it can happen if you put in the work to bring it about. It won't be handed to you. The universe won't say, oh, here you go, here's why you're here, and I'm just going to hand it to you. No, it won't do that. But if you work at it, if you change those subconscious programs, because I guarantee that soul passion is never going to be easy. It's always going to be something that you have to really overcome a lot of things to get to. But if you do that and put in the work and manifest it and do everything you have to do, you will get there, but it will be a lifelong journey of more and more and more and more and more. Not to say you can't have all of that early on, but once you have all of it, guess what? You're going to want more. And then once you have that, guess what? You're going to want more. And it's a lifelong journey of more and more and more. But that's what it's about. I mean, why should you wait until, let's say, retirement age to finally start living your dreams? Or why would you want that? Start early. And there's no reason why you can't. Whatever that deepest desire is, do it. Don't, waste your whole life just on being responsible and on doing what society expects of you and settling for something less than you really wanted. Why would you waste 65 years of your life and then, now I'm retired, now I can go do what I want to do with my life. Woohoo! For the next 10 or 15 or 20 years, and that's, what if you could spend 50 years doing what you want to do? What if you can spend 60 years doing what you want to do? Or 80 years? I mean,
do that.
In
fact, you have a better chance of spending 80 or 90 years doing what you want to do, plus that, if you're actually living that dream.
Exactly.
You have a better shot at it.
Right. So, go for the whole thing. Shoot for the moon, as they say. I mean, you just don't want to settle, because settling never, ever, ever, ever feels good. I've never talked to someone who said, yeah, I settled for something less than I wanted, but, I'm pretty happy. And they might say that, but they're doing it in denial.
Or they might be happy in the
moment
sort of way.
Yeah.
Not happy in the fulfilled way.
Right.
And contentment's okay, but it's not fulfillment. Let me tell you something. It ain't even close.
No. So that is what you really have to shoot for. You have to shoot for everything. You want the whole thing. And don't feel selfish about that, because that is what you were sent here to do. I mean, if it weren't the case, then you wouldn't want it. If that desire didn't really make you just feel so alive, then that wouldn't be your purpose. But it does, and so it is. Right? And that's really what you have to keep in mind. So, ask yourself, because some of us don't even know what is it that I really want. Ask yourself, if I could have anything, I could do anything, I could be anything in life, regardless of financial considerations, regardless of responsibilities, regardless of what seems even possible, what is it I would want to do? What is it that I would want to be doing in life? That's the question to ask yourself. And then make it work, and once you figure that out, then ask yourself, what if I knew in all certainty that I could do this tomorrow without any worries of finances or practicalities or anything else? And feel that feeling and let that be your focusing point for your goal. And that's it. And I'm not saying, this is an ultimate level goal in most cases, unless you've come a long way already. So I'm not saying it'll all happen at once. It won't all happen at once. But, it could, but it usually won't. But, let it grow within yourself. Let it, gestate within yourself. And it will come about, and things will start happening in your life, and you will start seeing more and more proof that this is possible, and you will make a pathway to that goal because you're open to it and because you choose to have it and because you've given yourself permission to go after it. And that's really what it is. So, I mean, yes, it's an ultimate level goal, but just by allowing yourself to want it and living your life around that awareness that this is where it's going, it'll lead there naturally. It has to. Because that's your passion. That's your joy. You know, I love, is it Joseph Campbell that says, follow your bliss?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's perfect. And we worry so much about what's responsible, what's considerate, what's, you know, practically a good idea, what's logical. But none of that leads to following your bliss. So follow your bliss to the best of your ability right now. You know, and if you have to do something in the meantime, like I'm doing, fine. But you know the end goal. And you know that you will get there at some point because that's within you, that's growing within you. So, I think that's pretty much all that can be said about that. I think that was, you know, it's just something that I've always been very passionate about, like I said, because I've always been, I mean, I don't know if I invest in this whole idea of like indigo children or whatever, but for me, I've just always been the type who says, you know what, I have a purpose, I'm here for something, and I'm going to do it. And, you know, like I said, for a long time, I doubted in that. I mean, I used to tell Christine, you know, I always thought I had a purpose, but what if I don't? Remember that, Christine?
Yes.
What if I don't? Because it wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't getting anything.
And you were driving me up a wall.
I know.
I wondered, if I could, I would have picked you up and shaken you.
But you know, when you live your life for years and you see no sign of your purpose, I mean, everyone now, you see me like all together. You know, like you see me after all that I went through.
Oh, trust me. You probably gave me the gray hair I have on my head. No, I'm just kidding.
But it wasn't easy. I mean, it was hard. It was years of just nothing. No results. You know, and that gets tiring. So I thought, what if, you know, I always thought I had a purpose. What if I don't? What if I'm just meant to just
wallow away,
live life and whatever, and, you know, there's no guarantee of doing anything special. But you know what? Like, after I really got into all of this, all of that changed, obviously. So, you know, I was always the type that knew, I mean, until my kind of, I don't know if I'd call it depression. It kind of was in a way, though, I suppose.
Yeah.
That when you don't have a purpose to drive you forward, it's like, what's the point? But until that time, I always knew, okay, there's something I'm here for. You know, and so I've always been very passionate about this topic for that reason. I saw all around me people who settled, people who compromised, and they were, by and large, unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want that for myself.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no. So that is, you know, why I'm talking about this today and why I'm very passionate about it. Because you can and will, with effort, get what you want if you work at it. So that is our topic for today. I appreciate everyone listening. And again, if you would like to see the show notes for this podcast or the transcript or leave a comment, which we always appreciate when you share your thoughts with us, you can go to cocreationcoaching.org/create021. And if you'd like to subscribe to us on iTunes or rate or review us, you can go to cocreationcoaching.org/create-iTunes, and that will take you to our iTunes page. So I really appreciate everyone listening today. If you have questions or thoughts on this, feel free to go to the show notes and leave a comment. We really love that. But otherwise, thank you for listening in. I am Brandon Oliveras.
And I'm Christine Oliveras.
And I'm Justin Williams.
Anything is possible.